Hey guys, hope everyone's having a good weekend. I just wanted to show you what we've been working on for the Sparko F8 Buggy while I'm here at the track. Now we're coming out with some new steering Ackerman plates here to make the position more ideal, because right now with the stock configuration you've got a bunch of bump out, and I'll demonstrate that here. I put a mark here and you'll notice that this spindle is going to toe out quite a bit. You see it moving? And you don't want that. You want that to stay as neutral as possible throughout the compression stroke. And here, we've already found the ideal length for the steering turnbuckle using my slotted steering Ackerman plate here that I've made just for testing purposes. I've also put a mark here and you'll see it stays literally unchanged. And that's what you want. So we'll be coming out with some new steering Ackerman plates with a new position in the future. And we haven't changed the position as far as Ackerman's concerned, because it's already an ideal position and there's adequate Ackerman adjustment here. So we're not going to mess with that. So we're going to keep that in the same plane as the original. What we want to do is adjust the length of the steering turnbuckle to a much more ideal length. And thanks to Ricardo from Portugal for pointing that out to me. Now, another thing we've been working on is the inclined spindles here. These are the 6 degree, and I want to give a shout out to Edward, my buddy here in the Philippines, that made these for me. So thanks, Edward. And this reduces the scrub radius significantly. The stock scrub radius is about 14.5 mm, and with the 6 degrees, it reduces down to about 8 mm. And that's with zero camber. That's completely vertical. So as you add camber, that scrub radius is going to reduce even further. So let's say you add 3 degrees, you're probably going to get the scrub radius down to 5 mm, which is much more ideal. And that's going to calm the car down considerably and make it even easier to drive. And you're still going to have tons of steering. And that's going to even make the front and rear balance with the long arm configuration even better. So look for these in the future. We've got the 4 degrees as well that we've tested, but we'll most likely put the 6 degrees into production. And again, that's going to reduce the scrub radius to about 8 mm without any camber. Now, again, with this type of C-hub configuration they've chosen to use, there's no way around it. You're going to have a high front scrub radius because of the packaging. It's a packaging issue because you've got to have the 2 bearings here and so forth. So the only way to reduce that is with an inclined spindle, or you could do what Mayako did, is which they've narrowed this quite a bit. So they've reduced the scrub radius by making this much more narrow. How they did that, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if they've gone with a smaller bearing or they've reduced the spacing between the 2 bearings here on the inside. I'm not quite sure, but that's the method they chose to use to reduce the scrub radius, because they also use a C-hub configuration very similar to this. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. Our current upgrades, like the shock towers, are in production, and our turnbuckle conversion is in production right now. Thanks to everyone that's put in their pre-orders, and I appreciate your patience. And yeah, so that's the parts that we've been working on to optimize the Sparko F8 Buggy, and that's going to make the front end even better. All right, guys, you have a good weekend. Hey guys, Andy with AMR Servos here. So I just wanted to add to the end of this video, due to the fact that we've had some comments on our YouTube channel from the original posting of our video suggesting that we should add some washers underneath the steering Ackerman plate to reduce the bump out. But unfortunately, it doesn't work in this case. That's actually the first thing that we did to try to reduce the bump out, but it's not working in this case due to the fact that this steering turnbuckle is far too short and this is far too long. Now, if you own the car, then you'd realize that you can't simply just add washers on either the steering Ackerman plate or the outer steering Ackerman plate here. I've added, as you can see here, let me see if I can get it clear, I've added 2 mm washers, so a total of 4 mm, and it actually makes it far worse. Look how much more bump out you have. That's a no-no. And if you add washers on the outside, same thing. Way too much bump out. Look at that. So I've added up to 6 mm of washers down to 2 mm. So 2, 4, and 6, and still way too much bump out. That's due to the fact that this is too short. You know, it's actually better to have it long, and then the washers have a better effect, so you could tune in some bump out if you want to have bump out, if that's something that you want in the car. But again, it's best to have this neutral, how we've designed it with the new steering position, steering Ackerman position. And if you'd like to add washers to tune that, then you're going to have a better range of tuning, because now it's centered. Right now, with the stock steering Ackerman plate, you've got bump out by default. So these washers don't do anything. And if you own the car, have tried it yourself, then you're going to realize that very quickly, that it's pointless. And we wouldn't have taken the time to develop a new steering Ackerman plate if it was that simple, period. So just wanted to add that to the end of this video. So people are thinking along those lines, as you know, adding a washer would, you know, make the problem go away much easier. I'm sorry, but that's not the case. And again, we would not have taken the time to do this if it was that easy. Thank you.